That was incredibly close to open the night, and that's what it should be at the end as well. Incredibly close. Nighttime here, championship night in Atlanta. Some 70,000 inside the Georgia Dome, all set for the championship matchup, and it's a beauty. The Louisville Cardinals and the Michigan Wolverines. And hello, friends. Jim Nance along with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Wow, what a feeling this is here tonight. There was just so much hope in this building for all four teams here on Saturday. But you're down to two, and everybody knows you're that close to the championship.
Well, both of these teams, Jim, feel like they are destined for greatness because they've endured adversity to get here. But championships are earned and seized. It's time to go for the grab tonight.
And how about the matchup? You got the best defensive team in the country in Louisville, best offensive club in Michigan. One game for the title. Can't get any better.
Well, we've got to talk about Louisville first, the overall #1 seed of this tournament. And all tournament long, of course, everybody's been mesmerized by Russ Smith.
Yeah. And why not? He might be the fastest player in all of college basketball. He does it in so many ways. Defensively, when he gets a steal, forget it. He gets in the open floor and he scores. Also very capable of knocking down threes like we saw the other night against Wichita State. Look at the points, 25 per game in the tournament. And of course, he gets so much help from his backcourt partner, Peyton Siva. Maybe not the same type of numbers, but he sets the table for this team. And it's their defense, the ball pressure from Siva and Smith, so important. And remember, they've got to do it against a great Michigan team without the services of their backcourt mate, Kevin Ware.
Absolutely. And how about this tournament run by Michigan? They make a lineup change to start the tournament with Mitch McGary. What a difference he's made, Clark.
He has morphed into a monster in the maize and blue. Shot blocking, defensive presence, dime dropping, making plays for others, and he's doing it off the dribble and from the high post. And yes, he can self-serve, scoring himself. A terrific performance so far, but if Michigan's going to win this championship, guys, Trey Burke has to play like the consensus player of the year that he's been all season. He's got to knock down shots early.
It is a dazzling matchup here in the Dome. Michigan and Louisville, and we'll pick it up with Greg Gumbel and the team on the desk when we continue on championship night on CBS.
CBS Sports presents Prelude to a Championship, sponsored by the all-new Buick Encore. The next big thing in luxury is small. CBS Sports presents Prelude to a Championship, sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving.
Leading up to the game, I feel like I'm going to pass out with anxiety. I can't eat. I get really nervous. I mean, we go through every emotion. Exciting, overwhelming.
You know, it's just been a journey. We're just so proud of him and how hard he had to work to get here.
I look at him, I just smile and continue to shake my head, you know, and be proud.
As you look at the NCAA championship trophy, it seems some of the family members are just as eager to get started as are the players. Welcome back to Prelude to a Championship. Tonight, Michigan seeks its second national title while Louisville is vying for its third. Our tip time is set for 23 minutes past the hour. And good evening, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. I am joined by a quartet of basketball fans who wish this tournament didn't have to come to an end. My partners, Greg Anthony, Doug Gottlieb, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. Admit it, it's the last night, but you really don't want it to end, do you?
I'm ready for this game. This place is awesome.
What do you expect?
Well, it's going to be up to Louisville's bench to play as well as they did Saturday because this is going to be a much better team. I think they're going to miss Kevin Ware tonight. I don't think that bench can play as well as they did Saturday. I think that's going to be the difference in the game. So I'm going to pick Michigan to win.
Kenny.
Well, I think the one thing that we're going to see is two teams not afraid to go at each other. There is no holding back. There is no, well, we're going to see what they do best. These two teams understand that they can play with each other, and we're going to see a high-scoring, high-flying, and an exciting game. So I cannot wait for it to start.
You got to match the physicality of Louisville. Louisville's going to smack, they're going to grab because they want it really, really bad. That's the way that they play. But you also have to maintain your poise, because this game's going to be tightly officiated early, but then it's going to get loose. And when it gets loose, that's when Louisville in the second half takes over. For a young Michigan team, can they maintain their poise?
Yeah, that's going to be really important. Also, I think from Michigan's standpoint, Mitch McGary has to play well. I think he's going to have an impact. Far different matchup, though, because it's not just about James, it's also about Harold. So he's going to have both of those guys. And can Michigan deal with the pick and roll of Louisville in the half court? Michigan doesn't turn it over. So I don't think Louisville gets as many runouts. Their half court offense tonight will have to dictate if they want to be national champions.
You agree that what Chuck says is Kenny's going to be high flying and high scoring?
I think it will be high flying and high scoring. I think both teams will be intense. But remember, the dome, I think, will have an impact on perimeter shooting. And that will affect Michigan a little bit more. They take more than 20 threes every game they have thus far in this tournament. Louisville is a team whose guards like to get to the rim. Michigan's going to have to really defend them in penetration.
But the biggest problem they got is they got little guards. Michigan got a bunch of 6'4", other than Burke. They got a bunch of 6'4", 6'5", 6 guys. That's why I think they're going to miss Larry. Because Smith and Siebel, they're very little. I think they're going to have trouble guarding the Michigan players. The one thing that you're going to see as well is the ability of a shot blocker to change the game. He didn't do it last game, but this is the national championship, ladies and gentlemen, and Dang has to be there with all of that defensive pressure. If Louisville wants to take this back to Kentucky, he has to be there.
And he wasn't the only one who didn't play well. Nick Stouts just no-showed. Trey Burke didn't play great. You go to the Louisville side, and Russ Smith came out, looked like he was very, very tight. But I think the point that Greg made is probably the most important one. Defending both teams. Louisville offensively is not great, but off the pick and roll, they turn the corner and they get running downhill. And then, of course, everything Michigan does is off the ball screen with Trey Burke. Whoever contains the ball better wins the game.
All right, it has already been a big day for Louisville head coach Rick Pitino. A short while ago, our Tracy Wolfson caught up with us.
First off, congratulations, Coach. This morning, you were elected into the Hall of Fame. How great of an honor is that?
Oh, it's a tremendous honor. As a coach, you realize that you haven't rebounded, you haven't made a bucket, haven't created an assist. It's all the players along the way that assist you to get here.
Well, let's talk about the game. And you called yesterday the toughest prep day you've maybe ever had. Why is Michigan so difficult?
Well, a lot of teams will run a high ball screen and they'll roll into the basket. They may have a guy along the baseline, but they don't have three knockdown shooters. So if you help off the ball screen, they find the three. If you don't help, they find McGary. And if you don't keep him in front of you, their player of the year gets to the rim. So it's an attack that's very difficult to defend. They're great in transition. So it's a great offensive basketball team, and that's why they're in a national championship game.
You mentioned Burke, you mentioned McGary. Who concerns you more?
You know, I find, like the other night, we were probably not going to play in the championship game unless our walk-on steps up and makes two big shots and changes the whole momentum. So you have to treat everybody as if they're a game-winning player, and that's the way we'll treat it tonight.
Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Over on the Michigan side, moments ago, Wolverines head coach John Beilein, kind enough to let us listen in on his pregame speech.
You just play with poise and you play with confidence, right? You do all those things today, we're going to have one heck of a celebration, aren't we? I want you to envision that as you're getting out of here. I want you to envision that. Think about what that's going to be like at the end of this whole thing. Then we're walking around that court, cutting down nets, getting it done.
And our thanks to Coach Beilein for letting us listen in. So before we throw it to tip-off, let's go back to something that Chuck said, and I want to ask you if you agree with. It seems to me, Charles, that you're saying that we can't expect the stars who didn't play well 2 nights ago to continue that way, nor can we expect the guys who played so well off the bench to continue that trend.
I think that's a great point. But first, I got to give a shout-out to my college coach, Jerry Tarkanian, and all the Hall of Fame inductees. He was also honored with that great privilege of going into the Hall of Fame. Now, to get to that point, to me, I think this. I think Trey Burke has been the National Player of the Year, the consensus. But I do think that Russ Smith has been the national player of the tournament. He has been the most impactful. And I think that those 3-point shots that you see Michigan miss, will create opportunities in the open floor for Russ Smith and Louisville. I'm going to give them the slightest of edges. I like Louisville to win the game, but I think this is going to be a heck of a game.
Before we continue, just a few moments ago, one of the big questions whether or not one Chris Webber would be here in support of the Michigan Wolverines. He is indeed. He's just arriving here in the building, and he will be a spectator from on high, and good for him and good for Michigan. Meanwhile, Doug, this game.
Well, look, I think that one of the things Michigan did in their game against Syracuse, they switched all ball screens. That's a big challenge for the big fellas. You know, Mitch McGarry, can he stay out of foul trouble if he switches against the guards of Louisville? But I think that we've seen freshmen in big games hit big shots, especially from three. We saw it from Mike Bibby in the national championship game. Heck, we saw it from Jerry McNamara. I think Nick Stauskas is going to have a big night. I think he's going to bury threes. I think Michigan's going to attack that press. I think Michigan wins a very close game.
Well, I'm going to take my analytical hat off, and I'm going to go with Louisville because Russ Smith is from Archbishop Malloy, played with the famed coach Jack Curran, who passed away. It's a tribute to him to have one of his players calling the game and one winning a national championship.
And Chuck, right off the bat, first thing you said is you like who?
I'm going with Michigan. I'm going with Michigan because of the injury. I think that's going to be the difference.
All right, Guck. Coming up, Michigan and Louisville for the 2013 NCAA title. We'll see you at the half. Enjoy the game, everyone, on CBS.
Welcome back, friends, to championship night in Atlanta, Georgia. And let's meet the teams playing in their first championship game since 1993. Tonight, they are in quest of their second NCAA title since winning it in 1989. From Ann Arbor, here are the Michigan Wolverines.
I play for my teammates.
I play for my family.
I play for all of Michigan's fans.
I play for Michigan.
Hardaway reloads it and hits it. That was a no-look pass by McGarry.
Are you kidding me? Vince McGarry comes up big.
And the game will end on that dunk right there. Michigan on its way to the championship game.
We are Michigan.
Starting tonight for the Michigan Wolverines. At forward, a freshman from St. John, Indiana, number 1, Glenn Robinson III. At guard, a sophomore from Columbus, Ohio, number 3, Trey Burke. At forward, a freshman from Chesterton, Indiana, number 4, Mitch McGarry. At guard, a junior from Miami, Florida, number 10, Tim Hardaway Jr. At guard, a freshman from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, number 11, Nick Stauskas. And now appearing in their first national title game since 1986. And they are seeking their third NCAA championship. Please welcome the tournament's overall number 1 seed, the Louisville Cardinals.
I play for all our great fans.
I play for my grandmother.
I play for my teammates.
I play for my family. I play for Louisville.
What a play, flying through the air and put back up and in.
Doing work down in the big boy area.
He has taken over this game.
Smith so dangerous.
Captain Peyton Siva.
The Cardinals close big.
We are Louisville.
Starting tonight for the Louisville Cardinals. At guard, a junior from Brooklyn, New York, number 2, Russ Smith. At guard, a senior from Seattle, Washington, number 3, Peyton Siva. center, a junior from Kabimmer, Senegal, number 10, Gorgui Dieng. At forward, a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, number 20, Wayne Blackshear. And at forward, a sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 21, Shane Bahanan. And introducing the head coaches for Louisville in his 12th season for the Cardinals, Rick Pitino. And for Michigan in his 6th season for the Wolverines, John Beilein. Pair of coaches, each 60 years old. Their teams poised to take the title tonight here in Georgia. The 67th game of this nearly month-long festival. And it all comes down to this, Michigan and Louisville. The officials who draw the assignment, John Cal, Tony Green, John Higgins. Gentlemen, here we go. And it's Siva on a little pick and roll, and that gets shut off quickly by McGarry in Michigan. The Cardinals, who have won 15 straight. Siva drives in, too strong on the layup, and Hardaway finally able to pick up the handle. And guys, what are you expecting at the start?
Well, I think it'll be up and down. Both of these teams love to play in the open court. Michigan has so much ability to spread the floor offensively in the half court because of the three-point shooting. But this guy has been the player of the tournament outside of Russ Smith, Mitch McGarry.
And for Michigan, you're going to go against this matchup zone defense. A little tricky to figure out, but they get a quick start with Trey Burke.
Oh, what a big shot that is. He hits his first one of the night, and he made a beautiful move to gauge it just right over Dieng.
Nothing like settling a player down who struggled in his last game. Nothing does it better than knocking down your first shot.
And here's Smith at the other end. That one took a while, but rolled off the rim, and jumping to get the rebound is Burke, who takes off down the middle of the floor to Robinson. To Burke, he wants it, puts up the three, and hello, championship night.
Just what the doctor ordered for the consensus player of the year in college basketball. Shot making early can ignite not only him, but his teammates too.
Almost comes up with a steal. Now right back to Dieng. And that's Blackshear with a three for the Cardinals.
Well, this game has started out exactly like we expected. Both teams up and down. I think both clubs probably a little looser tonight than they were on Saturday when they had to kind of shake off some early nerves.
It's Hardaway driving in, and Dieng got the block. No goaltending. Siva racing ahead, and he slips but is fouled outside. How about the block by Dieng?
Nobody does it better in college basketball than Gorgui Dieng. Eyeing the driver, which is Tim Hardaway Jr. Perfect timing.
And goaltend.
It was a goaltend. He actually hit the backboard before he blocked it, so got away with one there.
Sure did.
Yep.
At the other end, the foul's on Burke. Here's Smith, jumper. And Stauskas able to recover and pick it up. Got Smith behind him, running side by side with him. Smith's so dangerous, had 8 steals in the first game of the tournament for the Cardinals, which tied an all-time tournament record. Stauskas to Hardaway with a three. And Robinson rebounds it for the Wolverines.
Long misses lead to long rebounds. Louisville has to be conscious of that on three-point shot attempts, and the guards have to be able to get to that foul line area to pluck out some rebounds.
Stauskas. Over to Robinson, and here's Burke. What a matchup this is. Smith on him. Burke weaves through it all and puts up the shot. Gets it to go, and he's got 7 already here in the first 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
He was 1 for 8 the other day, so you knew he was going to come out the Wooden Award winner this season, consensus All-America. You knew he'd come out aggressive, and he's hot here early.
Yeah, he's hit his first 3 shots, including one from beyond the arc.
This is a matchup I think Michigan can take advantage of.
Dieng, no, but Dieng reaches over and gets it back. Bounce pass, and Blackshear banks it home.
He was a non-factor offensively, only played 9 minutes because of the play of Hancock the other night, and only took 1 shot and missed it.
Yep.
So he's off to a nice start here for Louisville.
And Blackshear with All 5 of Louisville's points after, as you said, not scoring in the game against Wichita State. And what a performance that was by Coach Marshall's Shockers, who had the Cardinals 12 down in the second half. Just a great effort by them. Here's Burke. Puts up another one. Thought he was going to draw the foul, but came up short off the glass. And it's Smith slashing in there. That's his best move. Splits defenders and somehow able to contort his body and get the shot.
He is something else in transition, guys. He really is. The speed, the concentration, the shot-making ability from all kinds of angles, just superb.
How about this up and down the floor for over 4 minutes? As Jang saw that coming inside and tapped it. And Siebel was able to pick it off the floor. Up ahead, Smith. Burke there defending, and Burke got a hand on it. Was in danger of perhaps picking up a second foul, but made a clean play. Now here's Burke. Side foul first. And the foul is on Louisville's black shirt.
Folks, you better keep your head up and stay out of the kitchen tonight.
That's right.
This one is full throttle. Russ Smith coming at you. We got a tight one, and they're playing it on rollerblades here in Atlanta.
Back in Atlanta, all square at 7, and a quick start for Trey Burke has Michigan fans excited. The bank on the runner, the deep 3, and then getting into that paint area. That's where Louisville's trying to avoid any kind of drives like that. But Burke off to the quick start.
And look at this. Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, Ray Jackson, 3 members of the Fab Five. We saw from the studio earlier Chris Webber arriving.
Jalen Rose in the mix as well.
Oh, there's Jalen. Yeah.
There he is.
Okay.
Got that Wolverine hat
yes,
on.
He
That's why
does.
you couldn't recognize him.
How about that? They played in this championship game 20 years ago. They played back-to-back years in the finals and didn't win it.
Burke getting a break right now. Good time for him to sit back, exhale a bit. Off to a terrific start. 3 of 4 is Trey Burke.
And he has the 1 foul, and
Yep.
I think that's what John Beilein is thinking. He was very close to getting another one as Stauskas is off on his first jump shot. But good time to get Burke out of the game so he doesn't pick up that second.
And staying with Michigan with Albrecht on the floor for Burke. Watch the game on the go. Keep up with the stats, social media, and highlights with NCAA March Madness Live. Get the app at ncaa.com/March Madness. So Smith back in after an extra couple of seconds on the bench, and Luke Hancock. You hear the Luke calls from the Louisville contingent, number 11.
I hate this pass because of how it brings into play the steal and the possibility for an easy score. It's a bailout. It's a lack of execution when you have to make that pass all the way in the backcourt and not get it inside in your forecourt.
Here's Albrecht, and he has not missed this entire tournament. He is now 6 out of 6 from 3 in the tournament.
Amazing.
I thought the key to that Syracuse game were the big threes, both from Albrecht and LeVert in that first half. That really set the tone for that game.
Jang from the outside, and he scores here in Atlanta for the first time.
He's got to be a factor. I really think he and Shane Bohannon have to be involved offensively for Louisville tonight. We know Russ Smith has been fantastic. Siva has come up with big shots on occasion. Hancock as well. Brent Robinson III able to convert inside. But in order to counteract this offensive firepower of Michigan, I think Louisville has to go inside to Zhang and also Bohannon in time.
Smith got McGarry on the switch off down low. That one is open, and that is Bohannon with the dunk.
Penetration from both teams. We heard the guys in the studio talking so much about who could guard, who could keep the other team out of the paint. All these guards here, Siva, Russ Smith, Trey Burke, everybody with the ability to penetrate and find teammates.
McGarry, and McGarry's turnaround is good. Averaging 16 points and 12 rebounds in tournament games. After only 2 starts in the regular season, gets the nod in the NCAA tournament, and what a breakout performance. Here's Smith, quick on the shot. Long rebound comes out to Hardaway. Numbers here for Michigan. Albrecht, can he do it again? He is still perfect. Albrecht, 7 of 7 from 3 in the tournament. He was 2 of 2 Saturday. He comes off the bench here and hits 2 more in just a couple of minutes. Siva takes it in and is able to pick up the foul call against Robinson.
Some kind of story taking place with Spike Albrecht. You see him run the right lane. Nice job by Hardaway with the late find. Shoulders square, feet set. Spray it, Spike. Spray it.
Hey, keep this in mind. Guy has 16 three-pointers the entire season. Okay, so he had 9 threes in the regular season and the Big Ten tournament combined. Got 7 now in the last 6 games.
Well, you heard in our pregame Rick Pitino talk about defending everybody as if they're a potential star. And that's how you have to look at it. You never know, as John Beilein said after the game the other night, who the outlier is going to be. Who's going to step up and make some shots or make some plays that you might not expect him to make. Boy, I love this pace. So do both of these teams. This is exactly how they want to play. It's going to be a matter of who can minimize the easy scores for the opponent.
So Burke comes back in, and along with him, Horford with his first action, handling it here. And Albrecht. He's not going to even think about challenging Jang. There's Hardaway's attempt from 3. And look at Horford battling for it. And finally, they call a tie-up, and the arrow will stay with Michigan.
I really think this is a good job by the officials not to anticipate too soon in blowing this whistle. They let him wrestle, and ultimately could have allowed it to go on.
That's probably what they should have done that last play of that Wichita State game.
I agree.
That tie-up
was a tad
Ron
quick.
Baker. Yep.
There's that pass again, Clark. And Jang comes all the way to midcourt and commits the foul. His first.
You know, there was so much talk coming into this game about what kind of pressure Louisville would put on Michigan. We know they like to pick up full court, try to cause havoc, but Michigan, on the other end, the best team in the country at handling the ball. And if they break the press, they get open looks. To this point, Louisville has picked up full court man, but they're not running and jumping. They're not really trying to expose themselves on the back end.
Albrecht, this is unbelievable. Unreal. 9 points off the bench.
Like an out-of-body experience. Are you kidding? This is a national championship game.
That move. Able to get to the rim. That's something Michigan has to do a better job of, defending that pick and roll.
Well, there's always someone that you least expect who steps up in the championship game, and the early candidate is no doubt Spike Albrecht. A little tournament summary here, this Big Ten Big East matchup. Only the 3rd time they've ever met. What a story, though. A 5'11" freshman from Crown Point, Indiana. Spike Albrecht hitting all of his shots in the tournament without a miss. Tim Hardaway Jr. was talking yesterday about the team playing a road game this year, and they got off the bus. Albrecht was the last one to get off the bus, and one of the security guards wouldn't let him in. He had to see, he didn't believe he was one of the basketball players. He had to go and get somebody to vouch that he was actually a member of the Wolverine team.
Yeah, show him the videotape, Spike.
There you go. Terrific start. So much for the dome impacting shooting. These teams have combined to make 14 of 25 to start. Make it 14 of 26 now. Michigan's got to contain Siva. He's been able to get into the lane a couple of times now.
Here's Ncaa. Neal's going to get fouled. And it'll be
Trey Burke. As you look at Kevin Ware, and I think he's indicating that's Burke's second as well.
Yes, it is.
This is a tough call here, and this is what Hancock does really well. But you see Burke jumping by. I think that's a play on. I mean, he jumped.
He leaned into
leans way over to the left, tries to create contact. To me, you only get that call if the guy jumps into you, not way to the side.
Tomorrow on The Late Show, don't miss Dave's exclusive interview with Lindsay Lohan, followed by Craig Ferguson, only CBS. So Hancock has 2 more to go, and what a star he was on Saturday with 20 points off the bench against Wichita State. There's Burke having to sit with the 2 fouls.
This is huge. I mean, this is where you start to worry about the Louisville pressure. Harris LeVert comes in. You look for Albrecht to handle the ball. But Burke is Big Ten Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. He's your guy. This is where the pressure may become an issue.
Hardaway. He's got a size advantage over those Louisville guards.
And you need to use that size in terms of getting your body between the ball and the smaller defender. Didn't do a good job there. Hancock was able to jump it.
Siva in traffic on the floor. Hardaway able to gain a tie-up, and the arrow stays this way.
You know, every coach has a different philosophy when a star gets 2 fouls. Some college coaches will say, that's it, we're not playing you the rest of the half. I think John Beilein is just going to play it by ear here. He's got a little lead. His team is playing well. But if things go south, I don't think he'll hesitate to bring Burke back in here in the first half.
I agree. He's going to massage it and see how things unfold. And if need be, he'll trust Burke. Although he's only a sophomore, he'll trust him to perhaps come back in and try to settle things. But right now, +3. Let's see how they handle the pressure. You want to try to open up the floor with a good ball handler against this full court pressure so that Louisville's not in a position to trap you. And this is what you want to do. Albrecht has to be able to handle it, get it across, and then get into offense.
That was the first turnover against the Cardinals, who have brought in Harrell, who's defending right here, as well as Van Treese, who's guarding McGarry.
Patino mixing up his defenses as he always does. They're in man-to-man now. There's the steal.
Siva just came right in there with a beautiful bounce pass. Van Treese muscles for the board and sends it back outside.
That's twice now Hardaway Jr. has over-dribbled. He's got to be much more judicious with his bounce and move that ball with the pass in the half court.
McGarry, well, he turned around and Siva saw he turned his back. And it's batted out by the Wolverines.
Burke goes to the bench. 2 quick turnovers already. Ncaa now will come back into the game for Michigan. But the turnovers have come in their half-court execution. I think they've got to go through McGarry when he's on the floor for offense, especially with Burke on the bench. Get the ball to McGarry, use him as a passer, cut around him.
And Hardaway Jr. going to sit down because he committed those 2 turnovers by over-dribbling, and that's a double dribble on Gorgie Jang that gives the ball back to Michigan. You know, one of the things that I thought was really impressive in the game on Saturday with Michigan was how well the Wolverines played defense. It was a grinded-out type game, but Michigan did it. Michigan did a nice job defensively, and sometimes that part of its game gets overlooked.
Tim Henderson now guarding Albrecht. Albrecht takes it now. Hey, I can make him from 2 also.
This guy has game now. He hasn't played a lot because he's sitting behind the consensus National Player of the Year. But that benefits you in practice. Who is guarding Burke in practice? Albrecht. Who is Albrecht being guarded by Burke? This kid can play.
Look at McGarry, and then from the floor, it's Albrecht up ahead to McGarry. Outside Stauskas. Can he finish it off? Yes! With a 3. From the floor, it all began again with Albrecht.
He's no longer Spike Albrecht. I'm calling him Spike Nash for the rest of the night. I mean, are you kidding me?
Seizing the moment, taking advantage of the opportunity is Spike Albrecht. And man, has he been special so far.
Here's Smith now, driving in off the glass too long. And LeVert comes flying through to get it back for Michigan.
And how big is that shot from Stauskas, who did not make a field goal attempt on Saturday? Such a big part of this offense.
Underneath, Albrecht waits and gets to go to the line. Albrecht who's already set a season high in points here tonight.
Well, Jim, I'm going to read some numbers to you here, okay? Spike Albrecht averages 1.8 points per game.
Yeah, that's
1.8. He averages 0.8 rebounds. I mean, this is a guy
you
who
got to factor that into his minutes played, Steve. On a per-minute basis, he's producing at a high level.
Well, yeah, but
if you extrapolate it out to 40 minutes,
Clark, it's Monday night here. It's the championship game.
And he misses the first free throw. One thing, they're about to bring in Morgan for just a moment there. They had 5 freshmen on the floor. As now Morgan, a junior, comes in for Robinson. So that little spurt fueled by Spike was a little retro Fab 5 action here. And Siva comes back for Henderson.
Henderson is just playing sort of 2-minute spells for Siva and Smith. Rick Pitino knows Siva and Smith are asked to do so much already, but with Kevin Ware unable to play, fatigue could be a factor, especially after all the energy they expended against Wichita State.
Zone defense here for the first time by Michigan, guys. Going to try to make Louisville settle for perimeter shot. Beautiful pass.
Oh, and Jang beats that zone with that pass.
We saw that with Michigan with Mitch McGarry against Syracuse. You get a good passing big man at the high post, then he can turn, look, and dump it down to a teammate.
Now on Smith as we go to the break.
Made and blue all over Atlanta. Trey Burke from deep. Spike, Albrecht. Show him what you got.
Download the free Masters app and follow all the tournament action. It's Masters Week coming up, and go to Masters.com. Get the real-time scores, the live video, and the latest news from Augusta National. There's John Beilein, turned 60 in February, and he sat in the stands for 30 years at the Final Four, dreaming of what it would be like one day to bring a team here. Of course, he took 4 different schools, programs to the NCAA tournament. And he was there back in '89, the one time Michigan won the championship in Seattle, sitting there with his wife Kathleen in the old Kingdom, and they turned to each other and said, boy, that fight song from Michigan, that's a good one. That's the best I've ever heard. And now they're playing it for him.
Exactly. I think I've heard it 817 times in the last 3 days.
And it sounds great every time, and that's coming from a Buckeye sitting right here.
There's McGarry with the jumper off the glass.
You know, this team was ranked #1 in the middle of this season before McGarry was even a factor. So you think about the talent this club has. Now you throw in McGarry, who looks like a lottery pick here in the Final Four. I mean, they're loaded with talent.
All right, Michigan had Jordan Morgan up ahead. LeVert almost had it stripped. Morgan underneath. No, but LeVert. He wants to come back out with it.
Michigan dominating the glass and knocking down threes. That's why they're up double digits, or close to it rather.
Man,
up 9.
McGarry and then Morgan blocked again, and Siva saves it right on the baseline.
The other thing with this lead is Smith looks like he's going to get right to the hole. There's Stauskas with the block, but with this lead, Beilein's able to keep Trey Burke on the bench.
Let's go over to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks, Jim. During that last timeout, Rick Pitino really upset with his team's defensive effort. He said they're shooting 50%. We need to play our game better defense. We need to force turnovers and wear them out. He said we need to play closer to the ball because they're not missing, guys.
Well, meanwhile, we're going to have Smith back to the line. Thank you, Tracy, who's been shooting more than 10 free throws per tournament game, been living at the line and been scoring at least 20 points in every single tournament game.
One of only a handful of guys that's been able to do that and play for the national championship, Jim. 20 plus in the first 5, and then playing on Monday night.
So he gets 2 free throws, only 1 of 8 from the field so far as Smith. He started slowly on Saturday and then really got going. To the corner, Robinson blocked. McGarry on the floor fighting for it, along with Henderson. And now they call a timeout. And this again, as they keep going back and forth, it's Michigan's turn to keep it.
How's that not a foul? I mean, McGarry's in midair. He gets undercut by Blackshear. Clearly a foul, but no call right there.
Yeah, there's the bump, and he goes to the ground, but stays with it. Eventually forces the held ball. I tell you, the ability of Michigan to shoot threes and space the floor allows them to be a very good offensive rebounding team. It's really hard to cover the ground you have to block out when they're spaced out so far.
Well, this is interesting. Is this a technical foul? Maybe a delay of game? Looked like Blackshear, or was it Bohannon? Did we get a hand on the ball before it was inbounded?
There's a warning issued against Louisville's Bohannon, so right back to Michigan inbounding, and they'll go with Hardaway on the throw-in.
Very rarely do you get a delay of game on the defense in a situation like that on an inbounds pass. Sometimes that's called a technical foul. Interesting.
Oh, with another three. This kid has 15 of the 31.
And hasn't missed. That's the other thing, has not missed.
Just once at the line.
Yeah, I'm not talking about from the field, partner.
Bouncing around McGarry there, and it's going back to the Wolverines.
Whatever happens in this game, win or lose, we have a new cult hero in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Spike Albrecht, lighting it up. I'm going to repeat, Clark, and I know you got the minutes played and all that. He averages 1.8 points per game. Here he is with 15 in 15 minutes. Actually, less than that.
It's a volcanic eruption of epic proportions.
Yes. All of this with Berger on the bench, and a foul call against Louisville that has Patino spinning.
Now this is how well the night's going for Albrecht. Looked like he got a little away from himself here. And there's the bump from Ncaa and the foul. Rick Patino was going absolutely nuts on the sidelines.
First team of 15 foul, number 1 on Hancock. And they'll go back out to Michael Spike Albrecht, who is a young kid, so pridefully wore his baseball spikes everywhere he went. He wanted to prove to everybody he could play ball. His parents named him Spike as a little boy. This time it's blocked. And it's a call against McGarry.
One of the things you have to wonder about is Mitch McGarry picks up the foul. Albrecht has not played these kinds of minutes in a game, let alone the championship game, so you wonder about his stamina and his endurance. Does fatigue start to creep in and affect his sharpness? Obviously, Trey Burke has the 2 fouls, so you want to keep him out as long as you can if you're John Beilein. But it'll be interesting over this next minute or two. Actually, you'll have the under 4-minute timeout at some point. Can Spike go the distance this half and still be sharp? Boy, that was a kick ball. Yeah, McGarry got away with. I guess they considered it an incidental kick.
Siva, and that's blocked. 4 to shoot. And McGarry traveled.
Boy, this is really something.
Getting sloppy here both ways.
And the officiating as well has been a little sloppy here. Some very questionable calls. Let's take a look at the kick that happened. No
that
call.
Was an intentional, that's an
that's the
intentional
most
kick.
Obvious call in the building.
Yeah.
And then right here, Siva gets his hands all in there. Boy.
Called him for a travel.
Yeah.
So Louisville with its largest deficit of the night at 10. And Jang, front of the rim.
Well, Louisville has to settle down. They're a little out of sync offensively. Forcing shots, not running their offense.
And that's going to be on Smith, his second. The 2013 Women's Final Four concludes tomorrow with the national championship game. And yes, it's Louisville against UConn. Coverage begins at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Horford for McGarry. Again, Smith just picked up his second, so he goes out, Henderson in.
I like that for Beilein, getting McGarry out. He's prone to fouls. There's 4.5 minutes left. He's a high-energy player, but early in this season, he got himself in a lot of foul trouble. So sit him down when he's tired. Don't let him pick up that next foul.
And you're right in the window for the under 4-minute media timeout break.
Fade away, Hardaway, tough shot. Look at Horford. Well done by Horford.
They're really doing a nice job on the offensive glass again. The spacing of Michigan, making it tough for Louisville to box out and clean up the defensive board.
It's Albrecht for 2 more.
He's not tired. Forget about what I said. He's on adrenaline, and he is flowing
like he's never flowed before on the basketball court in college.
His all-time high in his freshman season was 7. He had 7 against Ohio State in one game, 7 also against Syracuse, and now he's come up with 17 on championship night.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the men's national championship game is sponsored by Allstate, Mercedes-Benz, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and by AT&T.
Back in the Georgia Dome, Jim Nance, Steve Kerr, Clark Kellogg, Tracy Wolfson, and just look at the rebounds +9. In fact, points +9 since Burke went out with 2 fouls, and Louisville has not hit a shot from the floor in over 4 minutes.
I think the rebounding is big. We heard the guys in the studio talk about this in pregame show. Michigan's a finesse team. A lot of this game was about, could they withstand the physical play of Louisville? Could they scrap and claw for rebounds? And that's exactly what they've done. There's Burke, 2 fouls. So you wonder about the rhythm that he's going to come back with, but the performance of Spike Albrecht, I mean, we're trying to find a comparison. We're sitting here during the timeout. Who has done what Spike Albrecht has done in the history of this tournament? He stands alone.
17 points in less than 17 minutes into this game.
I can't recall anybody close to that type of production under these kinds of circumstances off the bench. And replacing the consensus National Player of the Year.
By the way. Going against the guards within the talk of the tournament on the other side, too. Up 12, Michigan. The 2 biggest comeback wins of this tournament by the 2 finalists. Michigan 14 down, 7 minutes to go in Dallas. And what a comeback win that was, eventually in overtime. And then Louisville 12 down Saturday against Wichita State with 13 minutes left. Here it's 12 with Spike Albrecht. 17 points, 6 out of 7 from the field, 4 out of 4 from 3.
Louisville's not going to panic. I mean, they just came back from this deficit, as we saw in the graphic. They were down 15 to Syracuse in the Big East tournament final. Came back, no issue. They've got to just remain poised.
Stay in the know. Download the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report now, and get real-time news and alerts for all your favorite teams. There's Hancock, very reliable at the line.
Well, one thing about making free throws or buckets, you get a chance to get into some full-court pressure, and that's what Louisville does. We saw it Saturday night. Hardaway struggled with the ball and earned him some time on the bench. This time he takes it himself and makes it pay. That's the issue. When you press full court, you're vulnerable at the other end, and Michigan has a lot of weapons to hurt you with. And that time, Hardaway much stronger with the ball, Steve. Yeah. The 2 turnovers he committed, he was sloppy and soft with it. That time he was very aggressive with the basketball.
The timeout called from the floor by Louisville. Coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel and the team. Greg Anthony, Doug Gottlieb, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley break down this first half. And the awarding of the Naismith Trophy presented by AT&T to the Player of the Year. All coming up on AT&T at the half.
Pretty big 3 minutes here, would you say, Clark? Without question, Steve. Louisville has to find some level of rhythm and continuity on offense.
There's Hancock hitting the 3.
That's a good start. Now they get into the pressure. They don't want to open up the floor with useless gambling, and they also don't want to foul. But that's because of the gamble by Montrezl Harrell. It put his team in a tough position defensively there.
Hancock hitting that shot, the first field goal in 4 minutes and 55 seconds for the Cardinals. And Hancock actually gets the whistle at the other end, his second. And it's a 1-and-1 for Slim Robinson III. You know, you guys have heard of RG3. Well, he's known by his teammates as GR3.
Well, and he's been something in this tournament, shooting 62% in the 5 games coming in, averaging 13 points. How about this number? Michigan's 21-1 when Robinson gets to double figures this season. In a lot of ways, he's the barometer, kind of the X factor for the Wolverines. Agreed, because he doesn't need plays. There's Hancock again. Well, you got to feel like what he was able to do the other night. him stoked with confidence.
Yeah, you're starting to get a little flashback these last 2 trips down the floor, what he did the other night. He and Henderson. So he puts up 6 in 36 seconds. And look at this matchup. Jang outside on Albrecht.
That means his teammates have to be ready to help him if he gets beat.
He's got 4 to shoot. Outside Levert, that's wide. And Siva surveys up ahead.
Pretty good job by Jang. No Russ Smith in the game.
Ready for another one. It's Hancock again.
I'm thinking no Russ Smith. You can't get transition baskets here, but you can get a long jumper from Hancock. He's on fire.
9-1 timeout Beeline. I think Hancock wants to issue a challenge to Albrecht. Let's take this man-on-man one-on-one and shoot this out for the championship.
Boy, Luke Hancock saved the day for the Cardinals on Saturday. He might just do it again here on Monday night. 3 consecutive three-pointers. His team in a big hole, and now emotionally, confidence-wise, they are right back to where they need to be. 3 shots of espresso there. Compliments of Luke Hancock.
From Roanoke, Virginia, the son of a retired CPA, and he's proven he knows a thing or two about how to put up numbers himself. Coming off 20 on Saturday and 9 big ones here in the late going first half. McGarry. A nice rebound, snagged by Blackshear. Here's another 3. Van Treese grabs it with one arm and is going to stay with the Cardinals.
Well, I think you've got to be intentional about trying to find Luke Hancock. He's just knocked down 3 as Burke continues to sit with the 2 personal fouls. Gorgie, Jang, returns. Van Treese had a nice defensive stand against McGarry and a big couple of rebounds. Jordan Morgan comes in for Michigan. So some shuffling of the deck. McGarry, does he have 2 fouls? McGarry, or is he just with 1?
Just one. Here's Hancock. Oh, my goodness. That is 4 in a little less than a minute and a half. Single-handedly bringing Louisville back to this game.
There's a Louisville crowd in the background chanting Luke. He's the one guy that can match the Michigan three-point shooters, Luke Hancock, and he's done it to the tune of trying to get his team on the lead.
And up ahead to Siva. Elbow dunk by Harrell, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, Louisville comes from 12 down to take the lead. It's first of the night. 8 seconds to go in the half. Albrecht driving in, gives it up, and a push foul called on Louisville with 2.5 seconds to go in the half. It's called on Blackshear.
A blitzkrieg by the Cardinals, and this is the tail end of it. Montrezl Harrell wrecking that rim. Beautiful pass by Siva off a turnover. And boy, it didn't take long, guys.
No.
About 90 seconds, wasn't it? Maybe about 2, somewhere between 90 seconds and 2 minutes.
1-and-1 for Robinson. Ties it with that one. Hancock had 14 unanswered points because he had the free throws also and the 4 threes. And then Harrell gets the dunk. Finally put someone else in the scoring column. Now to get the lead regained, and that's Robinson putting Michigan up 38-37.
What an explosion both ways. Albrecht first for Michigan as John Horford returns, and then Hancock.
And here they inbound to Siva. He launches it midcourt, and he gave it a shot. Michigan led by 12 with 3 minutes left. But Louisville closes the half on a 14-3 run.
This is setting up to be an all-time classic. This thing almost went in. I wouldn't have been surprised after what we saw in the first half.
No, I'm kind of surprised it didn't drop. Let's go over to Tracy.
Thanks so much, Coach. You had a 12-point lead there. They were able to tie it up, and then you regained the lead here. But what happened down the stretch there?
Tracy, it's just a great basketball game. Look at those storylines out there with Ncaa and Spike Albrecht. It's a basketball game. It's going to go. It could go back and forth like this all the time. So we were hot, then they got hot. Their pressure bothered us a little bit. The second half is the same way. It's going to be one of the best games ever.
We wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Thanks, Tracy. We tried to warn you, folks.
Yes, we did. Strap it on.
It's the end of the first half with the score. Michigan 38, Louisville 37. We'll send you to AT&T at the half. After these messages, you're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship on CBS.
Miller Lite, Jeep Grand Cherokee, and by Warner Brothers Pictures, The Hangover Part 3.
Let's take a look at the first half stats presented by Coke Zero. Consider Trey Burke played 6 minutes in that first half. Smith and Ncaa, 2 out of 13 from the field. It really, forget the numbers, it gets down to 2 guys. It gets down to Albrecht and Ncaa.
Albrecht was unbelievable. He saved the day for this club with Burke on the foul, on the bench with those fouls. And he comes in knocking down shots from all over the place. A couple spot ups, one off the dribble, off a high pick. He was just on fire.
Can you say ABA shootout?
Yeah.
Knocking down threes. Hancock made all 4 of his, as did Albrecht. And this was just a terrific display of shooting.
Albrecht 17, Hancock 16. And just a moment ago, Coach Beilein of Michigan talked with his assistants about how to stop Hancock.
He only got one out of the ball screen. The other ones he was coming off screens. That's not the issue, and the other was the transition. They were just rockets. They were him coming right off the side. I mean, we got to be attached to him and not let him get him. The other was a transition. And the other points were a turnover, right? We're great. We did a great job. Are you kidding me? How many turnovers we have?
We had 5 turnovers.
5 turnovers and one later on.
That's the word for Michigan. Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. Rick Pitino called Michigan the best shooting team he has seen in 20 years. He said they are just so tough to guard. He said we weathered the storm, though, because of Luke. But his biggest concern, there's 7 offensive rebounds and 50% shooting by Michigan. Jim?
All right, thank you, Tracy. Guys, 25 years ago tonight, I was sitting on the set in Kansas City. Come up to me at halftime, and I look up, and it's 50-50, Kansas, Oklahoma, at the 50th Final Four. So we have the opening ceremony here on Thursday night, and all the teams are there, and I say, look, I'm expecting Monday night 75-75 at halftime. Now, it didn't quite get there. It felt like it, but it does add up to 75 first half points in what has been every bit as good and beyond what you promised.
Mr. Numbers, bringing it all together.
And now, if you're Michigan, I think you got to get Burke back into the game. Sometimes you sit out so long in the first half, you can never find your rhythm. I would look for John Beilein to run a play for Burke, trying to free him up early.
That's Blackshear hitting the 3. He's having a nice night. The inbounds passes off Ncaa. Blackshear named here by President Mark Emmert on Thursday night, the Elite 89 honoree for the top scholar athlete. And you see this top scholar athlete at the Final Four. So you saw Smith on the bench.
You know,
it's not to start the second half. 1 out of 9 first half.
I saw him take a little bit of a hit midway through that first half, and he came up a little gimpy. Perhaps he may be suffering a bit of an injury, and also the hot hand of Luke Hancock. I've got to think he's hurt and just isn't able to go.
National championship game, he better be hurt. He does have 2 fouls, but I can't imagine that's why you would leave him on the bench to start the half.
How about being 1 out of 9 from the field? You think there's just a little message there?
He's averaging 25 a game in the tournament. He's your star.
4 to shoot. Here's Burke. Gives it up. Robinson. What a shot.
Then he got fouled. No call. Got raked right across the arm.
Michigan going back to the first half. That's the first bucket in over 4 minutes. Ncaa. And Robinson got a hand on it. Jang was on the line. It's going to Michigan.
Watch Robinson on this pull-up. One dribble, watch Blackshear right there, all over his elbow, reaches in. That should have been an N1 there, but Robinson with a great concentration knocks it down.
And let's go over to Tracy quickly.
Well, guys, I just had a chance to talk with Louisville athletic trainer Fred Hina, and he told me that it is just a coaching decision, nothing wrong with the leg, although I will tell you that when Russ Smith came out of the locker room, he looked extremely frustrated, guys.
Well, there you go. Probably had just received word he would not be starting the second half. As Hardaway drives in and draws contact. Hancock. Now this is a concern for them. That's 3 on Hancock, and Rick Pitino grabs Russ Smith and sends him to the scorer's table to check in.
I don't know if I've ever seen this, guys. I mean, Russ Smith, 25 points a game, your star player. I know he was a little out of sorts in the first half, 1 for 9 shooting, but Mark, can you ever remember
I can't remember, but I will say this. He and Rick Pitino have a really unique relationship in terms of how Rick coaches Russ. And I think that allowed Rick to feel like he could do what he needed to do there, get Russ's attention and try to get him back engaged, because he was out of kilter and certainly was pressing and forcing a bit. But I think it goes to the relationship that they have, and it's a pretty unique one. He has a special relationship with all of his players, but he and Russ have hit it off in a different kind of way. So I think that's why he felt okay making that move. We'll see how it plays out here.
Bohannon challenging McGarry and gets it to go. Tough shot.
I'd like to see Louisville do more of that. Really get Bohannon involved. He's so powerful. He's so quick off his feet. He's got such a nice touch. They need to give him some opportunities to put pressure on the defense inside.
And another whistle on the Cardinals. It's on Siva, his first.
Well, you can see Louisville looking to pick things up defensively, pressuring the ball, coming from the weak side, and that looked like a clean play.
You got the ball first. Normally, if you get the ball first, the officials will let that one go. Big break there for Michigan. That's a lay-in at the other end.
Bird, he's hit some big ones from the outside in this tournament, and he does it again. From way outside, I'm talking about.
That's one of his greatest attributes, Jim. He's a terrific quarterback of his team, but off the dribble, if you go under that screen, he can hurt you from deep.
That's his first made shot since 17:21 on the clock, first half. Of course, saddled with the 2 fouls and set for 14 minutes of that half. Now, Bohannon wants to do it again, but he traveled first.
And this isn't a case where the defender goes, well, actually he did go under the screen, and that's exactly why he got burned. Burke thought he was fouled, but Siva elected to go underneath, and because Trey Burke can shoot off the dribble so well, you can't afford to go underneath.
Mostly man-to-man for Louisville. They played the matchup zone early in the game, got burned a few times. They've been mostly man-to-man with switching late in the clock.
They've got McGarry underneath, and he converts.
That's the problem when you switch. Jane gets caught all the way on the perimeter, and Rick Pitino's going to call timeout. He didn't like that defensive stand at all. McGarry getting right to the basket.
Michigan ups the lead to 4.
Michigan in the midst of a little 8-2 mini surge. We're going to take a look at Trey Burke being patient, using the pick and roll. The switch occurs. There's Jane on him as a result. McGarry going to roll to the goal, and Trey Burke going to do a nice job getting the ball swung, and then Hardaway's able to get it inside to Mitch McGarry. But that's excellent work by Trey Burke, probing, engaging the big, and forcing that switch.
And the reason for the timeout, Siva didn't follow through with the switch. There was a miscommunication. He was trying to get back to Burke. And James was staying with the switch, so Pitino trying to clean that up.
Louisville has 2 timeouts left. Michigan 4. And Siva dishes. Bohannon. McGarry reached in.
That's all Peyton Siva.
That's the second on McGarry. Bohannon has had a couple of handles down on the blocks and starting to look like he thinks he can do some business down there. A Champion is about to be crowned, and right after the game, get your official championship gear at the official store of the NCAA, ncaa.com/shop.
When I see this kid play at Bohannon, you know, I think of guys, Morris Williams, Rodney McCray.
Oh, that's a good call. I saw Rodney in the concession area while I was walking around canvassing the beautiful Atlanta, Georgia Dome and grabbing a snack or two as well.